Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at Fire Emblem Three Houses. Fire Emblem Three Houses is the latest release in the long-running strategy RPG series from Nintendo, thrusting players into the role of Byleth, or whatever name you choose, a mercenary turned professor at an academy for nobles and commoners looking to hone their skills for combat and magic, among other things. You'll take on a class from one of three houses and be tasked with developing the skills of your students, as well as bonding with them, while also uncovering a dark plot and dancing around the political machinations of the country you find yourself in. If you pay attention to the lower thirds of my impressions videos, you might notice that I've played an abnormally large amount of Three Houses compared to other games I've made these types of videos for. That's because this game is not only fantastic, it's also incredibly addictive, and I've had an incredibly difficult time tearing myself away from it. There's a huge amount going on in Three Houses, so much so that it can be a little intimidating once you select your house and the game really starts getting going. You'll be going on monthly missions with your class, which serves to advance the story and will also be where you'll find the majority of your time with the strategy combat. But outside of that, you need to balance instructing your students, focusing on leveling up their skills to match whatever class fits their strengths. You'll also need to hone your own skills and abilities, explore the monastery, partake in various activities to boost your students' motivation and skill levels, socialise to increase your support bonds with other characters, and so much more that it would take a 20-minute video just to cover it all. And while I did feel a little overwhelmed in my first couple of hours with the game, Three Houses is put together in such a way that everything quickly makes sense, and I knew exactly what I was doing within no time at all. Outside of completing quests and advancing the narrative, you'll spend most of your time setting your own goals, recruiting a specific character to your class, increasing a specific skill, and so on. That's what makes this game so hard to put down. You'll constantly have things you're working towards that push you to keep going, and once you've done those things, it's straight on to the next set of objectives. And all of that's before the second act rolls around, which I haven't gotten to yet. Three Houses reminds me of Persona 5, another massive JRPG with a huge playtime, in that nothing feels wasted. There's a lot to do and a lot going on, and it'll take a significant amount of time to play through, but there's no padding or filler, and no mechanics that feel like they exist simply to extend the running time. Every mechanic in the game is connected in such a clever way that whatever you're doing feeds back into your goals in some way. In its first act, Three Houses is roughly divided into two halves. During the course of each month, you're the professor, and it's your job to teach your students. Each week you'll devise a lesson plan where you set goals for your students and give them individual tutoring, aimed at boosting specific skills so they can reclass into more and more advanced classes. It requires some forward planning, but it's incredibly rewarding when one of your class completes their certification and gains access to an advanced class, changing how you use them on the battlefield. And while each student has their own goals to begin with, you're free to level them up however you like, for the most part. You can build your squad up however you like with few penalties, as well as unlocking budding talents that can alter the course of a character's development, such as one of the characters in my class called Hilda, who had a hidden talent for heavy armour and is now my squad's tank, though she still insists she's a delicate flower. Outside of the classroom, you'll have one rest day per week. Here you can arrange seminars to boost specific skills, fight optional battles for XP and resources, or even have an actual rest, which will increase your students' motivation and help them learn faster. You can also explore the monastery. This allows you to socialise with other characters, arrange tea parties, share meals, practice choir, complete side quests, fish, do some gardening, repair some statues, and so much more. I'm only exploring once or twice a month, but this is still where I'm spending the majority of my time. If lectures are where you hone your students' skills, exploration is where you'll be deepening your bonds with them, as well as deepening their bonds with each other. And aside from the gameplay advantages for doing this, interacting with these characters is wonderful. You'll likely spend most of your time interacting with students from your house, but basically any time I unlocked a new support scene or a few new lines of dialogue with anyone, I'd rush straight over. Three Houses has, without a doubt, one of my favourite cast of characters of a game since Persona 5. I was going to highlight one character here as a standout, but it turns out I can't. There are just too many. Maybe Raphael, the lovable teddy bear who's just as obsessed with food as he is with training. All of this said, and I haven't even touched on the combat, which is the second half of Three Houses. At the end of each month, your class will be sent on a mission that will always result in a fight. Combat in Three Houses is where all of your work in the classroom ultimately pays off. It's actually a fairly straightforward strategy RPG. You move your units, the enemy moves theirs, and sometimes you'll attack each other. You'll always know how much damage you'll do before an attack, as well as see who your enemies are going to target, which lets you manage the battle effortlessly. Battles in Three Houses are fairly enjoyable without being too overly taxing, requiring just enough thought and being just long enough to not overstay their welcome. What really makes combat engaging is all the groundwork the game has done beforehand. The soldiers on the battlefield are your students, the characters that you've been teaching and bonding with for hours, which adds a lot to the game. I haven't been as invested in a game as I am in Fire Emblem Three Houses in a long time. In fact, not since Persona 5 have I had so much trouble putting a game down to do other things, like make an impressions video for it. The whole game has been put together brilliantly, and there's not been a single moment in my 15 hours of play where I've been anything other than wholly invested. As soon as I finish editing this video, I'm going straight back to my Switch to keep playing, and I highly recommend you don't skip this one. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a comment, like, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got tons of awesome videos coming every week, including review impressions, indie game of the week, debate-driven top 5 lists, video essays, and our weekly podcast where we discuss games, gaming culture, and the games industry. We also stream 3 times a week at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. But most importantly, have a fantastic day.